Evacuations are underway in bushfire zones across Victoria and New South Wales as the death toll across the two states rises to 10. A number of fires have flared up this afternoon ahead of worsening fire conditions tomorrow. We begin our coverage with the latest details. In Victoria, 28 people are unaccounted for in Victoria's blazes. 2 people are confirmed dead. The Navy is rescuing hundreds of people trapped by flames in Mallacoota in the East Gippsland region. A state of disaster has been declared for 6 local government areas. In New South Wales, police have confirmed 8 people have died in bushfires. A massive evacuation operation is underway in towns and national parks on the state's south coast. 449 homes have been destroyed since the start of January. A state of emergency has been declared, the 3rd this bushfire season. There are currently 4 emergency warnings in place for bushfires burning in Victoria. 1 emergency warning has been issued for Berringama, Barroy, Keetong, Lucy Vale, Narrill Valley, Shelley and surrounding communities. Another emergency warning has been issued for Bigara, Tyndaldra, Toowong Upper, Walwa and surrounding communities. Residents in those 2 regions are advised that the Murray Valley Highway is now closed in both directions. A 3rd emergency warning has been issued for Goongerah and Nurran. The fire is now south of Bendock, Bonang and Tubbut and moving in a north-northeasterly direction. On top of these emergency warnings, there is a bushfire burning in the state's southwest near the South Australian border. That bushfire is also at an emergency warning level and is in place for the Wade Junction area. On top of these emergency warnings, there are 9 evacuate now warnings issued for regions in the east and northeast of the state. Around 50 fires are burning across the state, with more than 800,000 hectares burnt out. To stay up to date with the latest bushfire information, please go to the Emergency Victoria website. That is www.emergency.vic.gov.au, or download the Emergency Victoria app for your smartphone. Authorities have ordered people near fire zones in Victoria's east and northeast to evacuate now ahead of worsening fire conditions over the weekend. 2 people are dead and grave fears are held for 28 people still missing. Mass evacuations have begun with the hundreds of people transported by Navy vessels off the coast of Mallacoota.
These are the first of the 4,000 people isolated in Mallacoota, taken to safety by sea.
Oh my goodness, look at this. Can you see it?
Now set for Western Port in a journey that will take about 20 hours. After the devastation they witnessed firsthand over New Year's, many were relieved to be leaving before the danger returned.
I actually have held it together pretty well till yesterday when I heard that it could be coming back, and that's when I had my breakdown and I felt better after it, and now we're here and we're getting on the boat and we're going home and we're seeing our families, so yeah. Families with young children and people with pets were given priority after a safety briefing early Friday. Before boarding a series of landing boats, some on sea, others equipped with wheels, allowing them to drive straight into the water at speed. The journey to HMAS Chul's taking about 15 minutes for the exhausted boatloads of tourists.
We know that one of the ADF vessels has left Mallacoota.
Mass evacuations also taking place across the state as the bushfire crisis worsens. 2 lives have been lost and 28 people remain unaccounted for in East Gippsland, with fears both those numbers could rise.
Our fire services, our police and emergency services, everyone is doing absolutely everything they can to keep you safe.
For the first time, Premier Daniel Andrews declared a state of disaster, giving his government special powers to deal with the bushfire emergency. It applied to 6 local government areas and alpine resorts.
We cannot guarantee your safety. We all have a role to play. If you can leave, you must leave.
And in scenes similar to those in Sydney and Canberra, there are also now concerns for poor and hazardous air quality in Melbourne from the thick bushfire smoke blanketing parts of the state.
If you're sensitive to air pollution, now is the time to put in place your treatment plan and, where possible, reduce your exposure to the smoke so that you protect yourself.
Conditions now set to worsen for the thousands of firefighters battling blazes across the state, with severe to extreme fire danger forecast for Saturday. The threat of further devastation and loss of life severe, but for the 1,000 people now on board the HMAS Choules, they're at least now safe after a traumatic ordeal. From the State Control Centre, Gabriella Power, Sky News.
An emergency warning is in place for a bushfire burning at Duns Road, west of Canberra. The out-of-control blaze is burning south of the Snowy Mountains Highway near Kernama and Laurel Hill. The fire is more than 131,000 hectares in size. Residents are being told leave now and activate their fire plan ahead of worsening conditions tomorrow. And authorities are preparing for the worst ahead of another weekend of extreme fire danger in New South Wales. Stella Todorovich reports from RFS headquarters.
A state of emergency is gripping New South Wales.
We're doing everything we can.
Very likely we will lose homes tomorrow, but we'll be very happy and we'll call it success if there's no lives lost. That is our single focus tomorrow.
Temperatures are rising and winds are again picking up. Parts of the south coast and the Riverina region will be hit by 45-degree heat. Penrith in Sydney's west also set to swelter on Saturday. A southerly change won't come through until late afternoon for the south, almost midnight for Sydney. It's a dangerous mix for thousands of firefighters, residents and tourists stuck in the path of these relentless blazes.
If the fires tomorrow again result in communities being cut off or result in supplies being diminished because there's no access to those communities, the ADF will be there to support us in our efforts of getting basic supplies to communities.
Since the start of the week, 8 people have died on the south coast and 449 homes have been destroyed. The toll on people and communities has been devastating. The fear now for what lies ahead.
Apart from more than 3,000 firefighters that will be allocated to fires tomorrow, in 700 fire appliances, there'll be more than 650 extra firefighters in 150 fire appliances, both of fire rescue and RFS, staged strategically around the state in 18 locations. And they will be there ready for things to go wrong, and they'll be sent. Whichever one's nearest by, they'll be sent.
This as Emergency Services Minister David Elliott prepares to return from his widely criticised European holiday. He'll be confronted with yet another weekend of extreme fire danger right across the state. Stella Todorovich, Sky News, Sydney.
More than 70 Queensland firefighters and volunteers are on their way to relieve exhausted New South Wales crews. They're taking 25 appliances to danger zones, including the Blue Mountains and Wollongong.
They've spent the past few months battling blazes in their own backyard, but that didn't stop these firefighters boarding the bus to help.
Fresh faces, people that aren't that fatigued at this stage, and we're just going in to give New South Wales a break. They're tired, but they're still turning around and doing it again. So, no, we're happy to go.
Queensland authorities confirm the Sunshine State's fire danger is abating, freeing up crews to deploy south.
It is unprecedented fire conditions in New South Wales, and our crews will be fully briefed before they get deployed out of the fire ground, and above all else, safety is our highest priority.
They admit the tragic losses of 3 firefighters in New South Wales will be on their minds.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to those families. Our safety is priority. We have to do, doesn't matter if it's a house, bush, car accident, our dynamic risk assessments are what we do day in, day out. And we'll do whatever, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure our people and people around us are kept safe.
The Queensland Fire and Emergency Services firefighters will initially be deployed for 5 days. These rural fire service volunteers are going down for 3 days. It does mean time away from their friends and families over the summer holidays. Their leaders say they didn't hesitate to put their hands up.
A lot of firefighters in New South Wales haven't seen their family, haven't seen their friends for quite many weeks, months. And it's about time that they need a break and need some time with their family and time to recoup.
Anna Rawlings, Sky News, Brisbane.
An emergency warning has been issued for a fire burning on Kangaroo Island in South Australia. A fire at Ravine at the western end of Kangaroo Island is burning in all directions through the Flinders Chase National Park. People are being told to leave if the path is clear to a safer place. The state's Country Fire Service says crews on the ground and in the area are working to contain the fire threat.
The fire has breached control lines and is burning freely within the national park. Fire danger indexes have greatly exceeded those predicted for the island.